And coming our way next, we have our popular segment called Business World Business Class. The beautiful young hostess here is Miss Swetha Ramesh. On screen today, she presents the CEO of Abeyon. Let's meet him closely.
Hi, I'm Swetha Ramesh, host of Business World Business Class, where I interview entrepreneurs from all around the globe. Here I have with me today from the Miami, Florida area, Mallesh Murugesan, founder and CEO of Abeyon LLC. Nice to have you on the show.
Good to be here. Thank you.
So when you first came to America, what was it like?
So I actually grew up in India. I came here when I was 21 to do my master's in computer science at George Mason. It's a cultural shock. You grow up in a country where things are different.
For sure.
It's very, very different. The one thing that really stood out in this country, actually the first day of my class, is I walked in and I saw people from every different country, every different age range, right?
Yeah.
I think I was one of the youngest guy in the class. It was a master's, so it was an evening master's class. So I was just fascinated by the diversity of the class itself, and it really it was eye-opener, truly an eye-opener.
I'm sure,
for someone who's coming from a country where I went to school with students who are of the same age. We are all together. It's an undergrad, given it's an undergrad class, but it was just extremely fascinating to me. The other thing I still remember that stood out is how open they are to asking questions to the professor if they don't understand a single word in what he's writing on the chalkboard. It's a professor, could you tell me what you wrote over there? And that's not something that you do typically in
very different,
back home, where the professor is looked at more as a very much a senior figure, and you don't ask as many questions as it's the cultural difference that was extremely fascinating to me. Something
different environment, different culture, something different, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. It was wonderful. It was a very much a learning experience, and it took a while to get acquainted to this country's culture and all of that. But here I am. So things are going well so far.
Great.
So,
that's good.
Yeah.
Was that cultural diversity something that you looked for when you decided to come to America? Like, what was that big moment when you said, yes, we're going to America, we're going to do this?
I've heard a lot about cultural diversity in the U.S., but it's one is to hear about it. The other is to actually realize that there is that much cultural diversity here, and especially when you come from a country where it's very much single race of people. It's a very, very different experience, and I think I'm glad that I became a citizen maybe 3-4 years ago, and I actually went up on stage. When they give you the citizenship, they ask some people you can volunteer and go up on stage and speak. And I kind of, it's funny because when I first came to this country, like I was telling you, I felt that cultural diversity, and when you go for a citizenship award ceremony, you kind of have the same feeling, where now you're seeing people from every different country becoming an American citizen, which is also another extremely, it's a phenomenal and a fascinating.
Everybody's, united.
Feeling.
Everybody's together in that moment.
Absolutely. So like I said, I went up on stage and gave like a small speech, which I kind of talked about the same thing that I'm telling you, which is, my first day of class. This is what struck me when I first came to this country. So it's great. It's wonderful.
And so, did your parents support you in this journey? When you decided to make that big step and come to the United States, were they very supportive, or were they kind of on the fence?
My parents were extremely supportive.
That's great.
Yeah. So they were, actually, it's when I finished my high school and I wanted to go to do undergrad in engineering, and my parents were very much in tune with. They were looking into the future a lot more than I was 18 at that time. So obviously, it's a different setup. But it was very much like, we want you to go to a school where you have potential to go abroad and have further studies and do well in your career. So it was a very much I would say a planned process, even from my start of the undergrad. So that way I think it actually worked out from a support standpoint. They were extremely supportive.
That's good.
Right.
Yeah, I can relate to that. I'm almost 18. I can definitely see, being in your shoes, having your parents being supportive is so important.
Yeah, and when you're a lot more mature than I was when I was 18.
Thank you.
At that time you don't know the world. You haven't really gone out and seen the real world. You've gone through school, and especially in India, you don't, or at least where I grew up, you don't explore as much, and you don't have the same opportunities like you have here. So you were a little bit narrow-minded. Not that it's a bad thing, but you don't have visibility into a lot of things in the world. So so when your parents kind of plan for it and actually show you the path that you can walk on, I think that's a great thing to have.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So did you come to the United States with the plan to become an entrepreneur, or was it something that kind of evolved over time?
I think it was something that evolved over time. I was always very passionate about design, and I'm going to kind of talk a little bit about design because that's something I'm extremely passionate about.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
So I've always always into media, and growing up I used to watch movies over and over again, just not just for watching it, but also for the way the camera angles are and the way the lighting is. So I was always into that aspect of the visual aspect of be it films, be it newspaper ads, be it computer screens,
all the little details,
all the little
right?
details. And I was I'll always pick on it, and my parents used to tell me just watch it for the story of it, and I said no, this needs to be like this. So as I got into my career and started doing more and more work around design, and I think the entrepreneur bug kind of bit me and said, you want to be, I want to be able to do this on my own and be an entrepreneur, so I can do true design, the design the way I wanted it to be. To be honest with you, I'm kind of lucky to be where I am at this point, and being able to do what I'm doing.
That's great. That's very good. Yeah.
Thank you.
So would you be able to tell us a little bit about what Abeyon does? How did you get from being the kid who was very interested in design, always pointing out the details, to where you are now?
Sure. We are a software design and advanced application development company. Like I had mentioned to you, we're very, very serious about design. We are UI UX is something that we take it very seriously in every application that we develop. We develop mobile applications, web applications, cloud-based applications for our clients at this point. So we are a service-oriented company which do a lot of design work. We started. I started Abeyon 2.5 years ago with around 4 people. Now we have grown decently well. We are around 14, so not a bad growth for a service industry, but. When I actually started it, over the couple of years, we have come up with a really, really good design process to be able to develop applications in a very quick way and being able to do better design. To me, from a design perspective, the culture of the company is very important. Everybody needs to know how things needs to be designed. So I think over the years we have developed a really good culture where all of the employees are in tune from a design standpoint and being able to create applications that look great and function well.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So what makes Abeyon unique from other IT development firms?
Sure. I like to say it in a funny way that we are a bunch of geeks who like design, right? So
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah. So we are not we're not just a design firm. You've seen like a lot of firms that are specialized in design, but they don't do development. Big clients will have to go to a specific design folks to do the design, and then they'll have to take it and go to a development shop to actually write code for it. We can do both, and we understand both. And if you look at it from a development standpoint, it's actually good to do all of it together. And in the past, what has happened was development and functionality of the applications were considered more heavier than design was, and design is
yeah.
something that actually came about, and although it has been around for several years, it got the popularity that it has today in the past 3, 4, 5 years, I would say. But what we do, I think, is we have, again, like I said, we have a really good process to bring design and development together and being able to deliver applications that are much better and much, not just in look and feel, but also in user experience.
So you're very streamlined, very new, innovative. So how did you come up with this process? When you were starting Abeyon, what were some of the challenges that you faced specifically as a first-generation Indian immigrant?
Sure. I strongly believe success of a company or success of creating any product is based on the process that you have, right? So from the day one, we were always looking for ways you can standardize your process. So it was a learning experience. We didn't have a great process day one. But we knew what philosophies we wanted to follow. For example, from a design standpoint or from a UI UX standpoint, we follow a methodology called Lean UX, which helps us create wireframes, prototypes, design very, very quickly. And from a development process, we follow a process called Agile Scrum development. So we knew, from a philosophy standpoint, we wanted to be a agile development company, and we knew we wanted to be a great design company. But it was a process on how to marry these two together, one, and how to get the employees all in tune. So these happened over the years, and honestly, we're still, to me, we're still learning, right? I think we have achieved a place where we are good at developing at fast and efficient applications, but there's always room to grow. And so I, what I tell my executive team and the managers who run the project is always look for ways that we have to standardize it, right? So if you're working on 5 different projects, each project has to follow kind of the same path or an assembly line for us to be efficient. If every one of them is in a different path, then it becomes very difficult to manage.
Yeah.
This is not the greatest example, but McDonald's is a really good example when it comes to standardization. You go get a Big Mac, I guess. Yeah, Big Mac anywhere. I haven't been to McDonald's in a while. You go get a Big Mac from any McDonald's. It's the same.
So they have an efficient,
streamlined process. That's exactly right. And that's what we strive for, and we're learning. And that's how I think we're able to do it. And it's again, it's a learning process. We went through it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much for being on the show. It was nice to talk to you. Thank you so much for watching. Tune in same time, same channel next month. Thank you very much.